In the bustling streets of downtown Manhattan, young Emily Thompson huddled under a threadbare coat, her fingers numb from the biting winter wind. At 22, she was barely scraping by, working double shifts at a dingy diner to pay for her ailing mother's medical bills. One frigid evening, as snowflakes danced like forgotten dreams, Emily spotted an elderly man slumped on a park bench, his frail body shaking uncontrollably. He clutched a tattered shopping bag, his eyes distant and pained. Without a second thought, Emily approached him. "Sir, are you all right? Let me call someone for you." The man, Mr. Hargrove, waved her off weakly, murmuring about a lost wallet and no way home. Emily's heart ached. She knew that desperation all too well. Digging into her pocket, she pulled out her last $50, meant for groceries, and handed it to him. "Take this. It's not much, but it'll get you a cab or a hot meal." She sat beside him, holding his cold hand until a taxi arrived, insisting he take it despite his protests. Unbeknownst to Emily, Mr. Hargrove was the retired patriarch of Hargrove Enterprises, a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. His son, Alexander Hargrove, the sharp-suited CEO, had sent a discreet bodyguard to trail him that night, fearing his father's wanderings. The bodyguard reported every detail, and by morning, Alexander was poring over security footage of the encounter. "Who is this girl?" he demanded, zooming in on Emily's compassionate face. For the first time in years, hardened by boardroom battles and a string of shallow relationships, Alexander felt a crack in his armored heart. He traced her to the diner, arriving just as her shift ended. Emily froze when a sleek black limo pulled up outside. Alexander stepped out, towering and impeccably dressed, extending a hand. "Emily Thompson, I'm Alexander Hargrove. My father told me what you did. He hasn't stopped talking about your kindness." Blushing, Emily stammered, "It was nothing. Anyone would have." But Alexander shook his head. "No, not anyone. Here's $1,000, he said, pressing an envelope into her palm. "Just hold my hand for a moment. Let me thank you properly." As their fingers intertwined, a warmth spread through Emily that no winter chill could touch. They walked to a nearby cafe, where Alexander listened to her story, her dreams of becoming a nurse, her mother's endless hospital stays. He promised to cover the bills, but it was more than money. It was the spark of genuine connection. Over weeks, their "thank you" coffee turned into late-night talks, shared laughs, and stolen glances. Alexander, who had built an empire on calculated risks, found himself risking his heart on a girl who had given everything for a stranger. When Emily's mother recovered enough to meet him, she whispered to her daughter, "He sees you, truly sees you." And in Alexander's eyes, Emily wasn't just a savior, she was the light that melted his icy world. They married under blooming cherry trees the next spring, proving that sometimes, holding a hand changes more than one life, it rewrites destinies. Lila Patel had always believed in the power of small acts. Orphaned young and raised in a cramped foster home in Chicago, she now navigated life as a 25-year-old barista, her days filled with steaming lattes and weary smiles. One rainy afternoon, the shop emptied, leaving Lila to daydream about the art school acceptance letter she'd never afford. That's when he walked in, dripping wet, his expensive suit clinging like a second skin. Victor Kane, the enigmatic CEO of Kane Innovations, looked every bit the storm he carried inside, fresh from a merger that had left him hollow. He ordered a black coffee, his voice clipped, but as Lila handed it over, their hands brushed. A jolt, like static electricity, made her pause. "Rough day?" she asked softly, against her better judgment. Victor, unused to genuine concern, scoffed but lingered at the counter. When Lila noticed his soaked coat, she draped her own scarf around his shoulders. "Here, it'll keep you warm." On the house, it was her favorite, knitted by her late grandmother, worth more in memories than dollars. Victor left, but the warmth lingered. That night, alone in his penthouse, he unwrapped the scarf, inhaling its faint lavender scent. Who was this girl who gave without expecting? He returned the next day, not for coffee, but for her. "I owe you," he said, sliding $1,000 across the counter. "Just hold my hand. Let me feel that kindness again." Lila's eyes widened, but she complied, her calloused fingers lacing with his manicured ones. In that touch, Victor confessed his loneliness, the empire he'd built at the cost of joy. They spent the evening wandering the rain-slicked streets, Lila sharing sketches from her notebook, Victor revealing blueprints of inventions born from childhood dreams. He sponsored her art school tuition, but it was her hand in his that healed his scars. When Lila's first gallery show opened, Victor stood in the crowd, tears in his eyes, whispering, "You changed me first." Their love, born from a scarf and a handshake, bloomed into a partnership of equals, turning Victor's cold boardrooms into canvases of shared passion. Sofia Reyes was a fighter. At 23, in the humid sprawl of Miami, she juggled night classes and a cleaning job, her spirit unbroken despite eviction notices piling up. One sweltering evening, after scrubbing floors at a high-rise gala, Sofia found herself in the elevator with a disheveled man in a tuxedo. He was Damian Blackwood, the tech mogul CEO of Blackwood Dynamics, nursing a migraine from endless toasts and false smiles. As the elevator jolted to a stop between floors, panic flickered in his eyes, claustrophobia he kept buried. Sofia, sensing his distress, reached out. "Breathe with me. In, out." She took his hand, steady and sure, guiding him through the stuck minutes until rescue came. "You're all right now," she said, as if it were the most natural thing. Damian, who commanded billions, felt anchored by her touch. He slipped $1,000 into her apron pocket before fleeing, murmuring, "Just hold my hand sometime." To say thanks. Days later, he found her at the cleaners, heart pounding. Sofia laughed it off. It was nothing, but Damian insisted on dinner. Over empanadas at her favorite spot, she shared her dream of owning a community center for at-risk kids. He shared his fear of vulnerability, built from a childhood of neglect. Their hands met across the table, and in that grip, walls crumbled. Damian funded her center, but Sofia taught him to dance salsa under streetlights, her laughter dissolving his tensions. When the center's ribbon-cutting happened, Damian proposed on one knee, ring in hand. "You held mine when I needed it most. Now, hold it forever." Sofia's yes echoed through the cheering crowd, their union a testament to how a poor girl's steady hand could steady a king's unsteady soul. Rain poured relentlessly over Seattle as Nora Ellis dashed through puddles, her waitress uniform soaked. At 21, orphaned and independent, she poured coffee at a 24-hour joint, dreaming of the novel gathering dust in her drawer. One stormy midnight, a drenched patron stumbled in, Elias Grant, CEO of Grant Media, unraveling from a scandalous headline that painted him as heartless. He collapsed into a booth, head in hands. Nora approached with a towel and hot tea. "Hey, storms pass. Want to talk?" Against his nature, Elias did, about the betrayal by his board, the loneliness of power. When her shift ended, Nora walked him to his car, slipping $20 into his pocket for rainy days. "Hold my hand through this downpour?" he asked impulsively, and she did, their palms slick but sincere. Elias couldn't forget her. He returned with $1,000 and a plea, "Hold it again. You grounded me." Over late-night writing sessions, Nora read him chapters, Elias confessed his unpublished poetry. He published her book, skyrocketing it to bestseller lists, but her hand in his during quiet moments mended his fractured trust. At her launch party, under twinkling lights, Elias whispered, "You turned my rain into rainbows." Their love story, inked in pages and promises, proved that a waitress's touch could rewrite a tycoon's narrative. In the neon glow of Las Vegas, Mia Chen hustled as a casino dealer, her 24-year-old hands swift but weary from supporting her immigrant parents. One high-roller night, a man in shadows bed recklessly, Julian Voss, the casino's rival CEO, drowning frustrations from a hostile takeover. As he lost hand after hand, Mia leaned in. "Walk away, it's just chips." Her words pierced. He cashed out, but not before her shift ended in chaos, a drunk patron's outburst. Julian, witnessing her calm de-escalation, followed her into the alley. "You saved the night. Here's $1,000. Just hold my hand, steady me like you did them." Mia, wary of suits, hesitated but complied, her grip firm amid the slot machine din. They talked till dawn, her love for astronomy, his for unbuilt hotels. He built her a rooftop observatory, she taught him to see stars beyond spotlights. When paparazzi threatened her privacy, Julian shielded her publicly, declaring, "She's my anchor." Their wedding under desert skies, hands clasped eternally, showed how a dealer's touch could win the biggest jackpot, true love. Ava Morales threaded needles in a Brooklyn sweatshop, 22 and fierce, channeling earnings into her fashion design sketches. During a blackout, she shared her flashlight with a fumbling executive, Rafael Soto, CEO of Soto Textiles, stranded without power for a crucial pitch. "Here, light your way," she said, then held his hand through the dark corridors to safety. Grateful, Raphael appeared at her door with $1,000. Hold it again, you illuminated more than the hall. Their fingers intertwined over fabric swatches and late-night sewing, Ava's designs revolutionizing his line, Raphael's encouragement launching her brand. In an atelier bathed in sunlight, he knelt, you've woven me into your world. Marry me. Their vows, stitched with shared dreams, bound a poor seamstress and a textile king in eternal pattern. Harper Lee tuned pianos in quiet lofts of Boston, her 26-year-old fingers calloused from melodies unsung. One silent afternoon, she tuned for a brooding client, Gabriel Hale, CEO of Hale Harmonics, struck mute by stage fright before a symphony debut. As keys clanged wrong, Harper took his hand. Feel the rhythm here. Her touch coaxed notes from him. He returned with $1,000. Hold my hand on stage. You unlocked me. Rehearsals blended her compositions with his conducting, birthing sold-out concerts. At finale's bow, Gabriel proposed amid applause, your silence sings to me. Their duet of lives harmonized poverty's discord into symphonic love. Zoe Kim bridged gaps as a NYC traffic cop, 23 and unyielding, directing chaos for her brother's tuition. In a gridlock snarl, she guided a stalled limo. Inside, Theo Lang, CEO of Lang Logistics, unraveling from supply chain collapse. Breathe, sir. I'll get you through. She held his hand across the window, calming the storm. Theo sought her out with $1,000. Hold it, you bridged my breakdown. Patrols turned to strategy sessions, Zoe optimizing his routes, Theo funding her law degree. At City Hall steps, he vowed, you crossed my chaos. Cross into forever. There. Bridge, from streets to shared horizons, carried a cop and a CEO into unified flow.